No matter how many times you've fallen, no matter what anyone has said about you, and no matter if life has completely knocked the wind out of you and you can't even breathe right now, what truly matters is this: you rise again. Yea, you got knocked down. So what? You're not the only one who's failed, who's lost, who's been betrayed, broken, or forgotten. But what separates the great from the average isn't how many times they fall, it's how many times they get back up. You think champions don't fall, they do, but they rise again every single time. You thought that pain was punishment. No, that pain was preparation. That pain was pushing you, shaping you, molding you into the version of yourself that can truly handle the blessings waiting on the other side. I've been homeless, I've been hopeless, but I got back up every single time. Every time I thought I was done, I realized God wasn't done with me. And guess what? He's not done with you either. If you've got breath in your lungs, you've got purpose in your life. Don't stay down in that depression. Don't settle in that failure. Don't camp out in that setback. You get up. You rise again. They counted you out, count yourself back in. You lost everything, build it back stronger. You feel like quitting. That's when you push harder. Because the one thing life cannot take from you is your will to rise. You might have lost the job, the relationship, the money, the motivation, but you still have you. As long as you're still breathing, it ain't over. Rise again. You thought falling meant failure, that just because you messed up, you're done. Nah, that's not how this works. Falling is part of the process, not the end. It's the beginning of the rise. Everybody falls, every single one of us. The difference between the ones who make it and the ones who don't isn't talent. It's not money, it's not connections. It's the decision to get back up when it hurts, when it's hard, when nobody's clapping for you, when it feels like nobody believes in you, not even you. You see, we've been lied to. We were taught that if you fall, if you fail, if you mess up, you should feel shame, that you should hide, that you're not worthy. But I came to tell somebody today, falling isn't failure, staying down is. You can fall 1,000 times, and if you get up 1,001, you still win. The people you look up to, the ones changing the game, writing the books, building businesses, winning races, they fail more than you, harder than you. But they kept getting up again and again and again. You know what I realized? It's easy to win when everything's going your way, when the crowd is cheering, the money's flowing, and people are patting you on the back. That's not hard, but what defines your character is what you do after the fall. Do you stay down? Do you throw in the towel? Or do you wipe the blood off your face, spit out the dirt, stand up with shaky legs and say, I'm still here? You've got dreams, right? Goals, something in your chest that keeps you up at night. But the moment life punches you in the mouth, you want to quit. You fall once and think that's it. Listen to me. The fall was just a test. That was the interview to see if you're ready for what's next. See, the fall exposes your mindset. It shows you who you really are. Anybody can be hyped when things are smooth, but are you still hungry after the stumble? Are you still committed after the crash? I remember when I was homeless. I didn't have a place to go. I was sleeping in abandoned buildings, eating out of trash cans, watching other people chase their dreams while I was stuck in survival mode. I fell hard, but I didn't stay there. Oh, I got up every single day and said, this ain't the end of me. This is where I start climbing. And yeah, it was ugly, it was painful, but I made a promise to myself. I will not stay down. You've got to understand, it's not about falling, it's about your response. You want to be great, then expect to fall, expect to mess up, expect rejection, criticism, betrayal, exhaustion. That's the price. But when you fall, respond with fire, get back up like you've got something to prove. Look that situation in the face and say, you hit me, but you didn't finish me. Some of you fell and never stood back up because you thought that moment defined you. But that was just a chapter, not the whole story. You stopped at failure, but God had more pages for your life. You just had to turn the page, but fear had you paralyzed, regret had you stuck, shame had you chained to the floor, and you believed the lie that you weren't good enough to rise again. Let me break that off you right now. You are not your fall. You are not your worst moment. You are not your mistake. You are the bounce back. You are the resilience. You are the fight. The fall was an invitation to rise stronger, wiser, deeper, more focused, more dangerous. The world doesn't need perfect, it needs real. It needs people who have been through the fire and came out forged. You're still here. That's proof enough that you've got more in you. If you were finished, you wouldn't be breathing. But you are, so now it's time to stand up. When life breaks you down, I know your knees are shaking. I know the world feels heavy, but you've got to get up anyway, because what's on the other side of this pain is purpose. What's on the other side of this fall is your legacy. What's on the other side of this embarrassment, this heartbreak, this failure is your greatness. So I don't care if you failed yesterday. I don't care if you failed this morning. I don't care if you failed 5 minutes ago. You get back up, you dig deep, you remember who you are. You remember what you came here to do. And you stand tall not because it's easy, but because you were built to rise. Pain doesn't mean God is punishing you. Pain doesn't mean life is against you. See, we've been conditioned to think that every time we hurt, it must be something wrong with us, that pain is a curse, that it's unfair. But I came to tell you, pain is not punishment. Pain is preparation. It's the fire that purifies. It's the grind that sharpens. The weight that builds your strength. You want the dream, but you don't want the pain that shapes you into the version of yourself who can handle it. You want the crown, but you don't want to bleed for it. You want purpose, but you want to skip the process. And I get it, nobody likes to hurt. Nobody wakes up and says, let me go through some trauma today. But the truth is, the pain is necessary. The pain is what makes the victory worth it. The pain is what gives your success its weight, its meaning, its power. You think you're being punished because things aren't going your way. But in reality, life is training you. You're not being broken down to be destroyed. You're being broken down to be rebuilt stronger, like a soldier in boot camp. Like an athlete in the off-season, life is conditioning you. It's exposing your weaknesses. It's building your endurance. It's making sure that when the opportunity comes, you don't fumble it. Some of you are crying in the middle of your pain, asking why it happened to you. Why did I have to go through this? Why me? And I get it. I asked the same thing when I was homeless. I asked the same thing when I failed over and over, when I lost people I love, when I felt like everything was falling apart. But you know what I learned? The pain was preparing me. The pain was pulling something out of me that comfort never could. I didn't become who I am today because everything went smooth. I became who I am because of the struggle, the sleepless nights, the days when I had no food, the times when I got told no. 100 times, the rejection, the silence, the heartbreak. That was my training ground. That was where I learned what I was made of. And some of you are in your training ground right now. You think you're buried, but you're being planted. You think it's punishment, but it's preparation. You're underground, and it's dark, and it's cold, and nobody sees what you're doing. But guess what? That seed doesn't grow on the surface. It grows in silence. It grows in pressure. It grows in isolation. So, while you're in that pain, while you're in that place where you feel forgotten, understand this. You're being developed. Nobody sees the roots, but everybody loves the fruit. Everybody wants your results, but they don't want your process. But if you embrace the process, if you lean into the pain instead of running from it, You come out of it different. You come out refined. You come out dangerous. You come out prepared. You can't fake preparation. You can't fake strength. Either you've been through it or you haven't. And when life hits again, and trust me, it will, you'll be able to take the hit and keep moving, because the last pain trained you for this one. Don't despise the pain, study it, learn from it. Ask yourself, what is this teaching me? What is this revealing in me that I need to confront? What weakness is being exposed so I can address it? Because real growth doesn't come from success, it comes from pressure. Diamonds don't form in peace, they form in fire and force and intensity. And if you want to be a diamond in this life, you better be willing to go through the pressure. So maybe you're in a season right now where everything hurts, where you're losing friends, losing sleep, losing confidence, where you're questioning your worth, your value, your future. And I need you to understand, this isn't the end of you. It's the shaping of you, the molding. You're not dying, you're evolving. You're not being punished, you're being positioned. The pain is not meant to destroy you. It's meant to strip away the fear, the pride, the excuses. It's meant to toughen your skin and sharpen your focus. It's meant to clear out distractions and clarify your purpose. You're not in the fire to burn, you're in the fire to become. To become the leader, to become the example, to become the version of yourself who doesn't break under pressure, but rises under pressure. Pain is the prerequisite to power. You don't get to skip that. But the good news is, if you're in it, you're being trusted with something big. God doesn't waste pain. He uses it to prepare warriors, champions, leaders. So the next time it hurts, don't run. Don't retreat, don't numb, lean in, listen, grow through it, because that pain you're feeling today might be the very reason you succeed tomorrow. You're still in the fight. I know you've been through some stuff. I know there were moments you thought it was over. You gave your all, and life slapped you in the face. You took 2 steps forward and got pushed 5 steps back. And in that moment, it felt like a setback. It felt like failure. It felt like you were going in the wrong direction, like maybe all your effort was for nothing. But I came to tell you today that setback wasn't a stop sign, it was a setup. That disappointment, that delay, that detour, it was never meant to end you. It was meant to shape you, mold you, position you for something greater. See, most people think when things don't go according to plan, the plan is ruined. But what if I told you the setback is part of the plan? What if that thing that broke you was exactly what you needed to rebuild yourself stronger? What if that closed door forced you to find a better one? What if losing that opportunity made room for the one that was actually aligned with your purpose? You see, I used to hate setbacks. I used to feel ashamed when I failed. I used to look at other people and wonder why they were getting ahead while I was still stuck. But I didn't realize that the setback was my teacher, that being knocked down was giving me a perspective that comfort never could. You don't grow on the mountaintop, you grow in the valley. You don't find your strength when everything's going your way. You find it when you hit the wall and you've got to decide whether to quit or climb. I've been knocked down plenty of times, doors slammed in my face, dreams that didn't happen the way I thought, people who walked away when I needed them most. And at every one of those moments, I had to make a choice. Do I stay bitter or do I get better? Do I give up or do I level up? And I realized I can't control the setback, but I can control the comeback. The most powerful people you know, they weren't born that way. They built themselves in the dark. They got forged in the fire. Every time life pushed them down, they rose back up smarter, sharper, more focused. They didn't let the setback define them, they used it. They flipped it. They looked at pain in the eye and said, "Thank you. Now watch what I do next." So maybe you're in a place right now where things feel like they're falling apart. You feel behind, you feel like you missed your shot, but I promise you that pain is not in vain. That delay is not a denial. The world may have written you off, but God has not. Life might have knocked you down, but it didn't knock you out. And if you've got breath in your body, then you've got another round in you. You've got another play, another idea, another opportunity. But you've got to believe it. You've got to start seeing setbacks differently. Stop calling it failure and start calling it feedback. Stop saying it's over and start saying it's on. The moment you shift your mindset, you shift your momentum. It's not about the fall, it's about how you rise. It's about how you use what hurts you to fuel what heals you. It's about how you take that miss and turn it into a message. There are people watching you, people counting on you. And you think the setback disqualified you. No, the setback qualified you. It made you relatable. It made you real. Now, when you speak, people listen because you've lived it. You didn't read about it. You didn't Google it. You walked through it. You cried through it. You bled through it. And you're still here. And you were never meant to stay in a setback. You were meant to rise, to look back and say, that didn't break me, it built me. To walk into rooms that used to intimidate you and say, I belong here. Not in spite of what I went through, but because of it. The setback gave you something school never could. Life experience, inner strength, emotional resilience. And nobody can take that from you. So don't let this moment fool you. Don't let temporary defeat trick you into thinking you're finished. This isn't the end of your story. This is the tension before the breakthrough. This is the silence before the applause. This is the valley before the peak. It's not a dead end, it's a detour to something better. But here's the catch: the comeback isn't automatic. You've got to fight for it. You've got to decide that you're not staying down, that you're not letting this be your legacy, that you're going to rise up with purpose, with passion, with power. You've got to say, I've come too far to let this be the end of me. I've been through too much to give up now. I didn't survive all that pain just to play small. So rise. Not because it's easy, but because you were built for it. Because this comeback will be louder than the setback. Because this time you're not hoping, you know, you're not just surviving, you're ready to dominate. And the next time somebody sees you, they won't see the failure, they'll see the fighter. There's something I need you to understand deep in your bones. You weren't built to quit. You weren't built to fold, to give up, to tap out. That's not in your design. You were built to rise, built to overcome, built to get back up after the fall, to find strength in struggle, to stand tall in storms. You weren't put here to live average. You weren't created to live small, to shrink every time life turns up the heat. You were built different, built with purpose, built for pressure. You ever notice how some people go through hell and they come out stronger? You think that's luck. You think that's natural talent. No, it's because they made a decision, the decision not to quit. Because quitting is easy, anybody can quit. Quitting doesn't take discipline. Quitting doesn't take courage. Quitting doesn't take heart. You know what takes heart. Getting back up every time you fail, every time life says no, every time it hurts and it would be easier to walk away. The truth is, life is going to test you. Life is going to hit you so hard you forget how to breathe. Life will throw things at you that make you question your own worth. You'll have days when you wake up wondering if you've got anything left. But I came to remind you, you do. Because if you are still breathing, if your heart is still beating, then you've still got more to give. There's more inside you. You just forgot how strong you are. You weren't built to run away from challenges. You were built to run through them, to confront the pain, to stand face to face with fear and say, not today. You were built with endurance in your DNA, built with resilience in your spirit, built with a grind in your soul that the world can't take from you. I don't care what your past looks like. I don't care how many times you failed. I don't care how dark it got. You were not made to stay down, but you know what the enemy wants. He wants you to quit, wants you to second, guess yourself, wants you to believe the lies that you're not good enough, smart enough, strong enough, wants you to believe that what you're going through is proof that you're not meant for this. But that's a lie. The hardship is not evidence that you're weak. It's confirmation that you're in the fight. You're in the arena, you're still swinging, and as long as you're in the fight, you've got a shot to win. See, the problem is not that you fall, it's that you start believing you were meant to stay down. But I'm telling you, you were born for more than defeat. You were born with fire, with passion, with the ability to break through walls, climb out of pits, and rebuild from nothing. Look back at everything you've already survived. Every time you thought it was over, and you're still here. Every time you wanted to quit, and you didn't. That's not weakness, that's power. You were built to rise when others fall. You were built to keep going when others give up. The mindset shift: you were built to show the world that just because you've been knocked down doesn't mean you're out, that your setbacks don't define you. Your comebacks do. Every scar on your body is proof that you chose to fight. You didn't quit. You stayed in the fire, and even when it burned, even when it broke you, you didn't back down. And maybe right now, you're in one of those moments. Maybe life's got its foot on your neck. Maybe you're tired, worn out, beat up. Maybe your dreams feel like they're slipping through your fingers. But this is where the rise begins. Right here, not when it's easy, not when everything's perfect, but when you're at rock bottom and something inside you says, I can't go out like this. When the fire gets turned all the way up and you say, turn it higher, I'm not done. You've got to talk to yourself sometimes. Look in the mirror and remind yourself who you are. Remind yourself what you survived. Remind yourself why you started. Because people will count you out. Life will push you to the edge. But as long as you know who you are, as long as you remember that quitting is not in your blood, nothing can stop you. You were built to rise, so take all the pain, all the rejection, all the failure, and turn it into fuel. Let it light something inside you. Let it remind you that pressure doesn't crush diamonds, it creates them. Let it remind you that you were not built to break. You were built to bend, to stretch, to grow, but not to quit. Let the world throw what it wants. Let the storm rage. Let the odds stack up. Because at the end of the day, they're going to look up and say, how did they survive all that? And the answer is simple. You were built for this. You're not finished. You're not broken. You're not weak. You're not lost. You're rising, maybe slowly, maybe painfully, but you are rising. And the world better get ready, because when you come back stronger than ever, you look at the storm and think it's here to take you out. You hear the thunder, you see the lightning, you feel the weight of the wind pushing against you, and everything in you says this is too much. But I came to tell you something. The storm is not here to destroy you. The storm is here to develop you, to shape you, to test what you say you believe, to see if the strength in your spirit matches the dreams in your heart. You see, we love calm, we love sunshine, we love when everything's going our way, but nothing grows in that comfort zone. No tree ever strengthened its roots when the sky was clear and the breeze was soft. Trees grow when the wind makes them sway, when the ground shakes beneath them, when the rain pounds the soil and forces the roots to dig deeper. And that's exactly what your storm is doing. It's not sent to bury you, it's sent to build you. You ever notice how the greatest people in history didn't rise in peace? They rose in pain, they rose in the storm, they were forged by fire. They didn't get handed greatness, they fought for it. They bled for it, they suffered, they cried, they lost, but they kept showing up. And that storm, the same one that should have knocked them down, became the very thing that gave them the voice, the message, the power to impact the world. That storm made them, and I know you're in one right now, and it hurts, and you feel like screaming. You feel like walking away from everything. Your faith is being tested. Your patience is running out. Your mind is tired, but I need you to hear me. This storm is not the end. It's the beginning of a stronger, wiser, more resilient version of you. You just haven't seen what it's doing beneath the surface. See, storms uncover things. They expose weak foundations. They shake everything not rooted deep. But that's a blessing, because the storm is revealing what needs fixing, what needs strengthening. It's showing you where you've depended too much on people who were never meant to carry your weight. It's stripping away distractions, false comforts, illusions of control, and it's forcing you to go deeper, to lean not on the surface, but on the source. When the storm comes, it doesn't ask for your permission. It doesn't give you a warning. It just shows up. And your first instinct is to run, to hide. But what if this storm is not here to punish you, but to prepare you? What if it's meant to activate the potential inside you that would have stayed buried in peace? You don't find out who you are when everything is going right. You find out who you are when it all goes wrong. That's when the real you steps forward. You might feel broken right now, shaken, like everything you were building is being washed away. But let me remind you, sometimes God has to tear down the old structure to build a new one. Sometimes the storm is not coming to ruin you. It's coming to remove what's not meant for your next level. That relationship, that mindset, that comfort zone gone. Why? Because it was holding you back and the storm is pushing you forward. And I get it, you're tired of fighting, tired of trying. You want the storm to pass so you can breathe again. But listen to me, breathe now, find your peace in the storm. Because if you only know how to be strong when it's easy, then you're not really strong. Real strength is standing tall when the winds are loud, when the skies are dark, and saying, I will not break. I will bend, I will sway, I will cry, but I will not break. You were made for this, built for it, designed not just to survive the storm, but to thrive in it, because when it passes, and it will pass, you'll be wiser, you'll be stronger, you'll be more focused. The things that used to shake you won't even move you anymore. The things that used to scare you will now fuel you. You'll walk into new rooms with confidence. You'll carry peace into chaos, and people will look at you and wonder how you made it. They'll ask how you held on, how you stayed calm, how you stayed faithful, and you'll smile because you'll know it was the storm that made you. So don't curse the wind, don't run from the rain, lean into it, let it teach you, let it grow you, let it sharpen you. Because every storm has an end, every storm breaks eventually, but who you become in the storm, that lasts forever. You don't rise after the storm, you rise in it. That's where strength is born. That's where leaders are formed. That's where warriors awaken. This storm may look like a curse, but it's actually the classroom. And when it's over, you won't be the same, you'll be better. So hold on, keep walking, keep believing, because this storm, the very one you thought would destroy you, is actually the reason you'll rise like never before. You've got to understand this. Failure is not falling. Failure is not losing. Failure is not being broke. Failure is not making a mistake. That's not failure. The only time you actually fail in life, the only time it becomes real, is when you stop getting back up. As long as you rise one more time, you haven't failed. You've fought, you've learned, you've grown. You've earned the right to keep pushing forward. The reason most people never reach their goals, never live out their purpose, is not because they weren't talented enough. It's not because they weren't gifted enough. It's because they gave up too soon. Life knocked them down, and they didn't get back up. Life said, not today, and they said, okay. They let the setback become the ending instead of the setup. But you don't have to be one of those people. Listen to me, you are going to fall. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to try and mess up. You're going to give your best and still come up short sometimes. That's life. That's growth. That's real. But don't confuse the process with the outcome. Just because it's hard doesn't mean it's over. Just because you failed once doesn't mean you are a failure. Failure is an event, not a person. As long as you're still breathing, as long as there's fight in your chest, you've got another round in you. People see champions and think it's about the wins. Nah, champions are not made in victory. They're made in defeat. It's what you do when you're down that defines who you really are. What do you do when the crowd leaves? When nobody's clapping for you? When it feels like nobody believes in you, not even you? That's when you find out what you're made of. That's when the real ones keep going. The real ones rise again. The real ones say, "This might be the worst day of my life, but I'm still here. And because I'm still here, I've still got a chance." Fall 7 times, stand up 8. Let me tell you something. I've been down. I've been broke. And I realized the power wasn't in never falling. The power was in getting back up again and again and again until the fall had no control over me anymore. Every time you get back up, you get stronger. Every time you refuse to quit, your mind gets tougher, your spirit gets bolder, your dream gets clearer. You may not be where you want to be yet, but getting up puts you one step closer. You take one more swing, one more shot, one more rep. You wake up one more day and say, "I ain't done yet." That's how you win, not all at once, but by refusing to stay down every single time. Some of you are looking at your life and thinking, "Oh man, I've failed too many times." No, you haven't. You just stopped moving, start again, pick yourself up, wipe off the shame, shake off the doubt, and get back in the game. The fight ain't over, the dream ain't dead. You're still in this, but you've got to get back up. Nobody's coming to do it for you. Nobody's going to hand you victory. You've got to decide that falling is not the final chapter. It's just part of the story. I don't care if it's the 10th time. I don't care if it's the 50th time. You show up, you rise. You rise because success doesn't belong to the smartest or the strongest. It belongs to the most determined. The ones who refuse to quit. The ones who treat failure like feedback and defeat like training. The ones who say, "Yeah, I failed, but I'm still here, and because I'm still here, I'm still dangerous." The greatest power you have is the power to choose again. Choose to keep going. Choose to fight. Choose to believe when everything in you wants to give up. And don't let people tell you what you can't do based on how many times you've fallen. Let them watch you rise again and again and again until the pattern of your life is not falling, but rising. Until they no longer see the fall, they just see the rise. So what's it going to be? Are you going to stay on the floor? Or are you going to get up and remind life who you are? Are you going to live in fear of falling again? Or are you going to rise up and chase what's yours like you were never down in the first place? You've got to stop making comfort your goal and start making growth your mission. And real growth, it starts the moment you get up, not when things go your way. So get up, not because it's easy, but because it's who you are. You were never meant to live on the ground. You were built to rise, and the only way you lose is if you don't. You keep looking at your scars like they're something to be ashamed of, like they're reminders of your pain, your failure, your breakdown. But I came to shift your mindset. Scars are not signs of weakness. They are signs that you survived. They are signs that you went through something, and instead of letting it kill you, you healed. You overcame. You kept walking when it hurt. You kept breathing when it burned. You kept showing up when you had every reason to quit. A scar says, "I made it," The scar says, I didn't fall. The scar says, yes, I was hurt, but now I'm stronger. And that's the thing about scars, you don't get them by doing nothing. You don't get them sitting on the sidelines. You don't get them by playing it safe. Scars are earned by warriors. They are the marks of fighters, people who were in the fire and came out the other side. Too many of you are trying to hide what you've been through. You're trying to pretend like your story is smooth, like you never struggled. But it's the struggle that made you. It's the wound that taught you how to fight. It's the pain that shaped your purpose, and that scar, that's a reminder that healing is possible. It's a badge of honor that says, life hit me, but I got back up. Some of you have scars from childhood, from growing up without love, without support, without safety, and you wear that pain like it's a chain. But I'm telling you, it's not a chain. It's a crown, because you're still here. You didn't let that pain define you. You're rewriting the story. You're building something better. And every scar you carry is a reminder that you've already broken generational curses just by standing tall. Some of you have scars from heartbreak, from relationships that tore you apart. You gave everything, and it still wasn't enough. But look at you now, wiser, stronger. You know your worth. You know what love should feel like. That scar is not proof that you were weak. It's proof that you loved with your whole heart, that you were brave enough to be vulnerable, that you were courageous enough to start again. Some of you have scars from your own decisions. You messed up. You took the wrong path. You failed. But failure is part of the journey, and the scar is not the problem. The scar is the lesson. The scar says, I learned something. The scar says, I won't make that mistake again. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to erase the past. You just have to grow from it, heal from it,